Welcome back, y'all. This is season, whoa, not, okay. Let's try again. Hey, everybody, this is, one more time. Welcome back, guys. This is episode 2 of Modern Movie Review. To do the whole introduction backstory thing this time around, so we are going to get straight into it. Today we are going to be talking about Don't Look Up, directed by Adam McKay, starring Jennifer Lawrence and Leonardo DiCaprio. Super excited to talk about this one. So without further ado, come beyond the screen with me on Modern Movie Review. I am your host, Jennasis Savage. Here we go. Into, just like last time, the plot. Right off the bat, this plot, super realistic, super relatable for us, just as members of American society. Essentially, this is a story of 2 scientists discovering the end of our planet as we know it, and no one is taking them seriously. Surprised? You shouldn't be. We follow them on their journey of trying to convince the world of how dire, no pun intended, this situation is. We start off so strong in the beginning. There's this huge sense of urgency, right? From the second the movie starts, we meet these characters, they're freaking out off the bat. So immediately we're in it, right? We're like, oh my God, it's chaotic. What's happening? What's going on here? Should we be alarmed? Yes, we should. I can't speak to, on a factual level, whether or not Adam McKay did this on purpose, but our experience of the plot starting to drag and us just sitting there waiting for it to happen aligns with the experience of the characters in the film. In society in general, across the globe, our attention span has been significantly shortened. If we are not experiencing something right then and there, we seem to lose interest, no matter what it is. We kind of forget about it and we move on to the next thing. So when we start off the story so urgently out of the gate and then the momentum doesn't carry all the way through, much like we would in real life, we start to lose interest as we wait for the end. Which is the comet to hit in this situation. At some point, these scientists come to the realization that they have done everything that they can do in their power to try to notify the world of what's about to go down. Once they realize that there's literally nothing else they can do, they just have to sit and wait. Wait it out. Wait for it to happen, wait for the world to implode, and watch. On to the next category, right? Characters. The thing about the characters in this movie, we don't get a lot of backstory. We don't need it. What matters is exactly what's happening in the moment. Because these characters are moving with such urgency and like freak outage, that's not a word, but you get what I'm saying. Because they're moving the way they're moving, we don't really need to care. We don't need to know about their family life. We don't need to know about their family history. We don't need to know where they come from, why they do what they do. None of that. Because they're trying to stress the point that all that matters is the fact that a comet is hurling towards Earth, right? If we got too much backstory on these characters and it became about the lives of the characters, the comet and the overarching issue for the entire film would start to seem completely irrelevant. So this really isn't a movie that's overly dedicated to the development of the characters and their lives. Perhaps it would have hit a little harder emotionally if it were, but again, I don't think that's the motivation behind this film. Dr. Mindy is the first character that we interact with in the film, right? He gives us that first rush of emotion. he is so worked up and so like visibly stressed about this, instantly should put you on edge. Then we have Kate Dibiaski, whatever, it doesn't matter. Kate, I genuinely like her character. What I really enjoyed was the choice to give Kate a love interest, right? She becomes known as being this psycho freak who loses it on a talk show while she's talking about the end of the world, right? So she goes viral and she becomes known as this crazy, weird person. It's nice to see a vulnerable, soft side of her, a human side. We get to see her be human. She becomes more than a scientist, more than a grad student, and we see her release the pressure from herself a little bit. We get to see her interact with this guy on a human level, which is comforting in a time like this. So I think that Kate has a beautiful little arc there with being given a love interest, because we get to see that evolve even up until the end. He's sitting there at the dinner table with her and everyone else that they've built a relationship with. You've got Dr. Mindy, you've got Dr. Oglethorpe, and they have formed their own little family out of this tragedy, which is, it pulls on your heartstrings a little bit if you're, empathetic like me. If you're cold-hearted, then you probably just couldn't care less. McKay keeps placing shots in there of the president with Bill Clinton, the president with Mariah Carey, and then the next shot we get is of an award that has the president's name on it, awarding her for acting, for like best acting. That tells us everything we need to know about this person. Our president is not some political genius. She is not the hero of the movie. She's not going to save the world from its own doom. We are notified right then and there that we probably can't take our president too seriously. She's quite literally an actress playing a role. And so he's actively showing us that we can't count on this character. We cannot count on this woman who in the movie is the most powerful person in the country. We can't count on her to save us. So that leaves us with Dr. Mindy and Kate, two scientists from Michigan. Well, shit. That's who we have? Like, that's who we're relying on. Okay, great. And once again, this parallels to reality. It's directly making fun of our society for willingly putting just anyone in office, right? And letting them run things when sometimes said person has no idea what they're doing. They just want the power, the title, and the recognition that comes with the position. And that's what we see Meryl Streep as in this role as the female president of the United States. Practically useless. Yeah. So, that's a statement. Which is a reason a lot of people seem to not like this movie at all. They felt it was too political or too dry. That's what I heard a lot. A lot of haters of dry humor. I am a huge fan of dry humor, personally. Another character I want to talk about, though, Pete Isherwell. In the movie, I strongly feel like he represents Mark Zuckerberg. This man is just preaching insane notions to the American public throughout the film, right? He becomes the hero of the people, and it's unsettling. And in my mind, it just brought around what I think of Mark Zuckerberg, which is that he's a weirdo who wants to take over everyone's minds. We don't get political on this show, so I'm not going to get into all that. So we're going to move on to the next topic and talk about shot composition. So shot composition is like one of my favorite categories to talk about. It's the idea of being able to take that image from your brain and get it onto the screen on camera. Such a beautiful process. One thing I noticed immediately was how disorienting the composition of shots are, especially in the beginning. We also have a lot of handheld shots happening, which is, I feel like, is not seen super often anymore in movies. But just to explain the technical side of this really quick for those of you who may not get what I'm saying, handheld shots are usually happening if you see like a lot of camera movement in one moment during a movie or a show, or there's a lot of shakiness. Handheld shots are often used to create a feeling of instability and chaos for the viewer, because the frame of the world that you're supposed to be invested in is shaking. Good example of this, again, in the beginning, we see Kate and Dr. Mindy going into the White House, and so the camera is following them, and so instead of getting a smooth dolly tracking shot like we usually would, by the way, dolly tracking, sorry, technical terms, how do I explain this? A dolly shot is like what you see in the movies where the camera is following a character or following the action, and it's just a smooth, fluid movement with no cuts. And you can move from one location to a completely different location and there's no cut. It's just a fluid shot, right? So we're not getting that here. We're getting handheld, tilt up, tilt down, pan left, pan right. That's what we're getting. And all the shakiness with it. I feel overwhelmed. I feel like I don't know where to look. I don't know what exactly is going on, and I'm seeing everything right as it happens. I can't see everything all at once. I can only see what the characters are seeing right then, right there. So again, even that choice plays into the overall feeling aesthetic that you're getting from this movie. Just as the characters are feeling confused, anxious, and overwhelmed and disoriented in these moments, the same feelings are being inflicted upon us as the audience. We're thinking, what's going on? They're thinking the same thing. So you get that parallel with how you're feeling as a viewer to how the characters are feeling in the film based on what's happening to them. There are voiceovers connecting us between the current situation and future situation. The characters are talking over the cuts, right? So not only are we being stimulated in our ears, we're being stimulated visually because we're jumping. We're jumping from one place to another. We go from seeing Dr. Mindy and Kate sitting in the office on the phone on hold with the NASA guy, to them being boarded on a military-grade aircraft to fly to DC, and we're just jumping. We're jumping to different stuff, and it's super disorienting at first. I started noticing that we're getting a lot of close-up shots at first. A lot of close-up shots, a lot of extreme close-up shots, and we're seeing the tiny details on the characters' faces of just pure emotion. We are getting so vulnerable with these main characters right off the bat. Adam McKay wants us to feel exactly what they're feeling, whether we take it seriously or not. And I did notice that we specifically get those close-up shots with Dr. Mindy and Kate. Those are the main two people in this who are being vulnerable with us, who are being emotional, and who are showing how they feel about the situation and just how important it is to them and how it should be to everyone. We're getting a lot of medium shots with the other characters. And so part of me feels like we're experiencing a distance between us and those other characters, and the lack of vulnerability with them to us. The lack of vulnerability with them to Dr. Mindy and Kate. They're not vulnerable with Dr. Mindy and Kate at all. They actually make fun of them. It's very rare throughout the film that Dr. Mindy and Kate are the ones providing any comedic relief. Dr. Mindy and Kate know what's going on. They appreciate what's going on, and they're trying to stress what's going on to other people. So we have that insight with Dr. Mindy and Kate versus some of the other characters in the film, including Madam President and Chief of Staff, are just hurtling little jokes, dry humor moments here and there, satire. And it's like, again, it's disorienting because you have this super serious topic that's being discussed that you want to be fully invested in, and they take you out of it, right? It's almost like these other characters who are just making a joke about everything, they take you out of it as a viewer. It's like they're breaking the fourth wall without actually breaking the fourth wall. And that is a really weird concept. Let's talk about aesthetic. iMovie-esque. I don't know how I feel about that statement, but I said that because the font, the cuts, everything is super abrupt and like in your face, right? The colors are vibrant. The font is obnoxiously bold, it's giving parody, right? Think Vampires Suck, Valentine's Day, what else? Scary Movie, White Chicks. That's the vibes I get from this movie. All-star cast with real issues being addressed in comedic ways. In a nutshell, that's the aesthetic that I get from this. I don't know if that was the intention, but that's where I land. It's like a parody of American society. That's what it feels like. It's literally, yes, it's a parody of American society. That's it. You can stop watching the video now. That's the whole thing. If you tried to release this movie on a serious level, it probably still wouldn't get taken seriously. Does that make sense? Like, there's no one here. I'm talking to myself. Adam McKay was like, well, they wouldn't take a problem like this seriously anyway, so we may as well do it satire. We may as well do it in a comedic way and get people to laugh at something. That's the vibe I get. It's very cult film-esque. Like, if you guys don't know what a cult film is, a cult film is like a B-list movie, right? Like a B movie. It has, like, it's super popular. It has a heavy following. Like, it has a lot of fans. But as far as, like, technique and overall as a movie, it wasn't really taken seriously in the movie world. That's always how I've seen cult films. Hence, Mean Girls. I don't know if that's in frame, but think about Mean Girls. Mean Girls, Napoleon Dynamite, Heathers, Donnie Darko. All of those are cult films. Cult classics, people like to call them. I would classify this as eventually becoming a cult classic that people will discover 10 years from now, and they'll quote weird lines from it, and it will have many fans. The entire movie is screaming at its American audience just how stupid and blind and clueless we act when it comes to things that matter like this. I mean, the movie's pretty blatantly making fun of American society. Look at the talk show scene. Let's talk about the talk show scene.
Cars actually explode. So how big is this thing? Could it like destroy someone's house? Is that possible?
Well, Comet Bibiaski, which is what it will officially be named, is
After
somewhere.
her.
After her.
What an honor. Yeah, right. Congratulations.
It's somewhere between 6 and 9 kilometers across. So
It's big.
it would damage the the entire planet, not just a house. You know,
The entire planet. Okay, well, as it's damaging, will it hit this one house in particular that's right on the coast of New Jersey? It's my ex-wife's house. I need it to be hit. Can we make that happen?
That talk show scene spoke to me personally. As an American, as a citizen of this American society, I felt attacked. Because you had these two scientists go on the talk show and address what the issue was. They notified the public. They said, this is what's going to happen. We are all going to die in 6 months. And Tyler Perry is like, his character, the talk show host, is like cracking jokes, right? He's like, oh, can you get the comet to land on my ex-wife's house? Can you get it on my ex-wife's house? It wasn't funny. Adam McKay has so many parallels in Don't Look Up to our real American society. And maybe that's why a lot of people didn't like it. Maybe I'm making quite the statement with that, but personally, I feel like a lot of people didn't like it because they probably felt a little personally attacked. Let's move on to the next category. So the first major lighting statement that caught my eye was in the beginning of the movie, where there's a montage of Mindy and Kate in the back of the military aircraft flying to DC. It is almost completely red. Red says stop, red says emergency, red says anger, red says fear, red says urgency, right? Red usually puts us in a state of alarm. This initial image of all the red, it just promotes the idea that we should be just as alarmed as they are in this moment, the two characters, Dr. Mindy and Kate. When we meet the president, she's in a completely red, I think it's a pantsuit. It might be a skirt and a blazer. Either way, she's in a completely bright red suit. So even though she's not declaring a state of emergency and she doesn't seem alarmed, the first time we meet her, she's completely decked out in red. The way I interpret that is like, danger, danger. The president means danger because she doesn't care about anyone's safety. Then you also have when they go on the talk show, the entire set, the entirety of the set is red. And the show is called The Rip. If I could just pull this up for you guys, and I'll try to edit it in so you can see what I'm talking about.
6 and 9 kilometers across, so
It's big.
it would damage the entire planet.
No, you stop.
Listen, in all
You
fair-
need to stop.
I will, but in all fairness, I actually
Poke you to
paid
death with
for
this
the
cat.
house.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry, are we not being clear? We're trying to tell you that the entire planet is about to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay. Well, it's just something we do around here. We just keep the bad news light.
Right, it helps the medicine go down.
The Daily Rip. Yeah. So I don't know if symbolism gets much more obvious than that. Later on, we see little snippets of viral videos online of people talking about the comet. Red. The platform of the social website that all these videos are being shared on, red. Well, it's red and white, but it's red. It's just a constant theme throughout the film. It's like McKay wants to keep reminding you, don't relax, we're all in trouble and we're all gonna die. What else is red? Oh, I think I just made a new connection. Aren't burning stars red? Guys, burning stars. Literally, most of them are red. There it is. Boom, 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 boom. I could probably talk about a lot of stuff with the lighting, but I focused on the red because that was constantly sticking out to me the whole time. It was constant. Like, the color red just kept popping up. No matter what point of the movie we were in, the color red kept showing up. So I'd say it's pretty significant. And then one last thing I want to mention, not in relevance to the lighting, but it's just another parallel to our real everyday life in American society. It's just like, we had two scientists as the main characters throughout this entire journey. And the public didn't start listening, not truly listening or caring about anything regarding the comet being on its way until a superstar, Riley Bina, who's played by Ariana Grande, writes a song about it. She puts on this whole extravagant concert. And after that, it blows up. The whole concept. Everybody's tweeting about Don't Look Up, and musical artists specifically have a lot of power. They have a lot of power in our society. They can make or break a message. And the parallel in this film says that it's the same way in the world that Adam McKay has built, is like, nobody cared until someone they cared about said something. It's not what you say, it's who says it. That didn't come off as clever as I would have liked it to, but overall, I think I would give Don't Look Up different ratings on different things. However, overall, I'm going to say that Don't Look Up can get a 7 out of 10. I'd give it a 7 out of 10, yeah. I was really excited to talk about this movie because although it's not like a diehard favorite of mine, you can appreciate a film without liking it. I mean, a good example is Citizen Kane. I will tell you what, I'm probably one of few people who went to film school who did not really enjoy Citizen Kane. I'm sorry to all you film buffs and you diehard Citizen Kane lovers. I apologize. However, I want to finish by saying I don't like Citizen Kane, but I appreciate it. I appreciate its significance to film history, and I understand why it's important. But I would never watch it for fun. I feel like Adam McKay was going for a very surreal experience to be delivered to his audience with this one. And for me personally, he accomplished it. And I will throw out there, I wouldn't call myself like a fan of this film. I'm just saying I appreciate what McKay was trying to do here, throwing in those satirical, comedic elements, while also having a pretty legit, serious message behind it, which is like, America fucking sucks at taking shit seriously. Whoa, that was a lot of curse words. I'm sorry if your kids are watching. But, and it's not just American society. I don't want to seem like I'm hating on America. It's just that's the focus. That's the societal focus in this film, I feel like, is our American society here in the United States. And he got the point across to me. Maybe you can watch it, maybe you'll see it differently. I would love to hear your thoughts. Until then, thank you for watching. Go watch a movie, and remember, think beyond the screen.